Hola. ¿Cómo está? Happy Libra season. Happy, it's the autumn vertex. It's the fall equinox. Okay, so these earrings, I have to give a shout out to Lee when she was on her vacation. She brought me back. Should I like go really up close? You're all gonna get really up close with my skin. They are the Moon tarot cards, and they have one little black cat on them. How is everybody? Let me make sure. There we go. We're clear. Thank you for being patient. Last Saturday, I'm doing 1,000 times better. Still a little bit, not fully back to the 100%, which is still not 100% of what I was before I got COVID and was diagnosed with long COVID. You probably know somebody who has long COVID at this point. Unfortunately, it's so prevalent. But last Sunday I was going to try to come back, and then I spiked a fever, just a low grade fever, but on Saturday, so I was like, better not. So I'm back to do the second half. Ophelia wasn't, listen, I've lived through Gloria and Sandy. Gloria was not, Ophelia was not as bad as them. My internet would go in, it would go out. It would go in, it would go out. And I just thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to stream. Sometimes there's no weather problems and it's not Mercury in retrograde. And still, because Verizon's being weird lately, the streaming is, so I figured I wasn't going to try to go live because my luck, I would just be stuck like Sid from Ice Age, like every 5 seconds. Hi, everyone coming in and everyone that was waiting. I love you all so much. But yeah, happy Libra season. We're having a full moon in Aries coming up. Might do a special on that. It's also like conjunct my my moon, so that should be fun. And it's conjunct my moon and it's conjunct my Uranus. The sun will be conjunct my Uranus, and the moon will be, so technically my Uranus is opposing the full moon. Astrologically, I've just been getting hit like a little kid trying to catch a wave at the beach, at the Atlantic. If you've ever been in the Atlantic, you know. I'm hoping that gorgeous Aries full moon will be like the epic conclusion to the series that has been my life since June. Hey, Stacy. Yeah, happy birthday. Do we have any birthdays in here? Yes. And for everybody saying that I stalled yesterday because I was dyeing my hair red because it was inspired by that filter, as you can see, it is still very brown. My blonde pieces are there. They're just scooped up in my ponytail. That was totally an internet thing. All right. Let's get cracking. Last week, holy cow. Oh, September 22nd was your birthday. Happy birthday. So last week when I did the first 6 signs, and I believe we are starting with Libra today, but those messages were huge, and I mean huge. So I didn't end up pulling oracle cards because it seemed like almost every sign was also a collective message in one way or another. So we're just gonna go into these and see what it brings. I feel because like I'm all bottled up because I'm not on here as much and I'm not doing short form content, which I should. The messages seem big when I'm not here every week. They seem bigger. Yeah, part 1 was a doozy. Okay. I'm going to use my... How do I ever forget the name of this one? This is one of my favorite decks. It's the gift from my niece. If I wasn't using my phone to record, then I would say I would text Connie Jo, because I got these for her too because I love them so much. I want to say they're like the miracle moments. But this deck feels very good for Libra right now. If you guys remember back in May and June, and when we were talking about the Summer of Love videos, and now that you've all had your summer, you know why it was important for me to want to make those videos to kind of prepare you guys that things were going to get a lot of topsy-turvy. The Venus in retrograde, sure, but Uranus was just having conversations with all kinds of planets, and then depending on your chart, with all kinds of your placements, and just knocking things around, not the way that we planned, right? So, and it's to reorganize us. It's to make sure we're all on track the way we should be. But if you remember also, I was talking about when Neptune went into retrograde, there was going to be clear sight. And I've been talking about, I want to say for over 6 months, it's going to be harder for people to lie. And a lot of things being revealed and harder to keep secrets. And I'm not talking about things that we feel shameful about, that, you know, unhealed behavior that made us feel shameful, and shame is a fuck shame. It's a useless emotion. But I'm talking about things people do in the dark, knowing, full well knowing it's not okay, or helping to keep somebody else's secret. And oh my goodness, are we not seeing celebrity after celebrity, even ones we like, get called out on bad behavior and bad decisions to support other people's bad behavior for whatever, to play the Hollywood game because we're not educated enough, politics, money, whatever it is. Yeah, that's why I made those videos, because I thought I would want a warning. I felt like the summer was going to do what the summer was going to do. The astrology was going to, wreak exact its toll in the way that it wanted to, in the way that it was set up to. The least I could do was give you all lube and have videos to let you know, okay, these days this is happening, and maybe that's hitting your planets. Maybe that's hitting your placements. Maybe that's hitting your house cusps. Maybe that's hitting your ascendant. or your MC or your relationship or your home. You know, the summer was gonna get you. So all right, Libra. Okay, well, I like that for you. What was the other card? Okay. They came out this way. So we have the Fool. I'm not going to lie, the Fool was kind of sideways when it came out. And I like to honor sideways cards. I always think that there's a reason. And the other thing we have here is this incredibly gorgeous Queen of Pentacles. Isn't she beautiful? Now, I love Queen of Pentacles, and I'm always talking about Queen of Pentacles is a really great partner if that's the reading. Like, who's somebody coming in? You get a Queen of Pentacles, doesn't matter. Gender is has no bearing. That Queen of Pentacles isn't there for your coins. She's going to help you build it all up. And if you all lose it, she's going to help you build it back. She is the abundance. She understands that about herself. Now, in a personal reading, the Queen of Pentacles is here to tell you that you are the abundance. You are the moment. You are the thing that you need. This Queen is steady. And she's steady because she doesn't have to rely on anyone else. She doesn't have to rely on somebody else's bag. She doesn't have to rely on somebody else's putting a roof over her head. There's an independence about the Queen of Pentacles, for sure. There is an independence. And when we have the Fool kind of sideways, it was more, if it was going to be one way or the other, it was kind of more upside down than upright. But let's call it here. This Fool card is very, very interesting to me because it feels like there's a part of you that maybe after the summer, you are starting to feel independent. Queen of Pentacles doesn't mean you're sitting on piles of cash. It just means that you understand that if you lose it, you can build it back up. With the Queen here and this Fool, and this is why I love, and you probably are all sick of me saying this, but like this is why I love all the different cards, because the artwork is another layer of why the card is here. When we have this Fool card specifically, it looks like a flower. It looks like a vine. And when we keep going, there's an alligator waiting for the jump. When this is upside down or sideways, Libra, something shook you. And for my lovely Libras, that have been motivated by partner, that have been motivated by other people. Maybe your job hours revolve around making sure that you are a good partner. I don't mean that you have somebody controlling you. I mean that you're very motivated to keep the harmony. Or you were. There was something that you gave, and it cost a lot. Forgive my nerdness. There's a line in Infinity War. Is it Infinity War? Yeah, at the end of Infinity War. And it's, toddler Gamora. And she asked Thanos, what did it cost? And he said it cost everything. And it feels like, woof. And I don't know who this is. there was a leap you took. There was, it feels like you put your trust in someone else. It feels like you put your trust in the words of someone saying, you put in this and I'll put in that. We're gonna, whatever happens, we're going to do this together. Whether it was a business partner, a romantic partner, a friendship, and you gave that trust. And it cost a lot. You know, I always say this is like Libra and 7th house, but honestly, this message is just for whoever it resonates for. If you're here and you're hearing it and it's hitting you in your chest and in your feels, then it's probably your message. There could be hesitation. There could be hesitation for trust again right now. There could be hesitation for, you know, and this could be moon in the 7th house. This could be sun in the 7th house also. It's a lot. It almost feels like the torture in your head is worse than however anybody did you dirty. It feels like you don't want to become a cynic. You don't want to become jaded. You don't want to become disheartened. You cannot lose hope that there is somebody that you can feel safe with. It's been a long time since I've had a hard time speaking about what's coming up. But oof, is it happening? It feels like there's this inner wrestling with yourself of, I can't lose. I don't want to become closed down. I don't want to become somebody who looks for what I can get out of a relationship. And so the reason that the Fool came out kind of sideways and more upside down is that whole believe somebody the first time they show you who they are. And trying to find that line that you walk. Where is the line between trusting people ever and just not trusting them so fast, not being consumed, and saying this person means, like, this feeling is real. The feeling can be real, and this is just a collective message. The feeling can be real 100%, and that person can still have trauma response behaviors that makes them not as reliable. As we get older, trust is tougher. Trust is tougher as we get older because we've had more experiences where we are just 1,000% sure this person would never, and they do. Take your time, Libras. This feels more like advice than storytelling. It feels more like advice than saying what happened. it feels more like advice than hindsight is how I should say that. This Queen of Pentacles, you can build everything by yourself and then you can share it with someone else. But you're not dependent on anyone else. There's a big message here, and it's for sure collective. You can be reliant on just you. You can be independent in a way that allows you not to have anxiety about what if this person pulls away? What if this does not work out and we have our finances all wrapped up? Whatever it is. Or I have investments in them because I invested in them out of trust and love, and that for whatever reason they were not capable of following through, they weren't. Let's not villainize, right? You can decide to not be dependent on anyone else, and that does not mean that you want to be a loner. That does not mean that you don't trust in the fact that love exists. That does not mean that you are deciding and living in a vibration that you're not looking to call anyone else in, to share your life with. It's Libra season. It's cuffing season. Those are the same thing. We all want it, right? Libras, you can decide to be dependent, and that is not deciding to be single or alone. That's just code switching in your head. We facilitate our life through the words that we construct our reality with. So when we say, I want to be completely dependent on me, I want to be independent, that doesn't mean I don't need any motherfucker. That doesn't mean I don't want to be in a loving partnership. It just means that the ground is so solidly under you. It doesn't mean you don't share. It just means that you build stability so strongly and deeply within that whatever another person does to come in and out or share or not share the Queen of Pentacles is very steady. You know, when these cards popped out, at first I just thought, oh, this is somebody who's like, I finally am feeling steady. Do I really want to jump and do this all over again with another person? But it's not about that. It's more about the interdiscussion, the interpersonal discussion with yourself about where is the line between not trusting someone right away and still learning to trust and still learning to love, and how do we do that again and again, especially if it wasn't what it was supposed to be more than once. And it's okay to be independent, and it doesn't mean that, because, you know, we're all talking about manifestation. What are you vibrating? What are you asking for? I just got done saying our words frame our reality, right? It's kind of how we manifest all the time. So if I'm saying that, and you're saying, I want to be independent, I don't want to be dependent on anybody else, are you also saying that I don't need anyone and I never want to be in a couple again and I never want to have a partnership again? No. And that is the thing, that you can be dependent and fabulously in love. You can be dependent and have a really great friendship. You can be dependent on yourself and enter into a business, just not in a way that it shakes you. Hi, April. Libra, it's all around the words you use. I was on the phone last night with my friend who's a Libra. Their birthday is coming up. And like a rare snowflake, this person is. Completely, when I tell you, and I've known them since I'm a kid, not a bad bone in their body, right? And they said, well, you know, I have to expect a certain amount of bad behavior from people because we're older now. And I know that, you know, this person's probably been through a lot. So they're still going to behave like they're with somebody that treats it. But it's been a long time, right? And I said that that's different from disrespect. So if you tell yourself, no one's perfect, I'm not perfect, no one's perfect, that's beautiful. That's accepting everyone as they are. But again, this is all collective message. If you say to yourself again and again, well, I have to expect to be treated badly. I have to expect bad behavior, which in your mind excuses being treated badly, disrespected on the regular. Because people are all damaged, because people all have trauma, because people have all had traumatic relationships and no one's perfect. That's not healthy for you. You can say, I'm not a perfect person. I'm always growing. Everyone's always growing. Everyone's always learning. Everyone's doing the best with what they can at this moment for the tools they have, the examples they have, the trauma they have, the education about the trauma that they had. Great, wonderful. We all meet each other where we're at, and then we can still have boundaries and non-negotiables and not say things to ourselves so constantly like, well, I have to expect to be treated badly because other people have been treated badly. There's nuance to everything. Listen to the words that come out of your mouth because they are framing your reality. I used to say FML all the time. I refuse to say it anymore. Of course, this would happen to me. Don't say that anymore either. Just my luck. Take that out of your vocabulary. Well, no one's perfect, so, you know, I'm bound to be treated badly. Nope. I want that all out. Hi, Doretha. Okay, let's move on to Scorpio. Another doozy. Oh, if anybody can do timestamps, I think that Lee was up late on the phone. I was up late working, but I think she might have been up late on the phone. But if anybody can do timestamps, we're starting Scorpio now. 28:45. You can have empathy, collective message actually at 28:45. You can have empathy for somebody. That doesn't mean you have to engage. You can have empathy with somebody who hurts you. You can understand the reasons behind why they hurt you. You can grant forgiveness. That's not for them. That's for you. You don't have to engage. Just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you have to continually engage and give them permission to continue to perpetrate crossing your boundaries and making you feel unsafe. It's really hard to heal when we constantly feel unsafe because healing takes your nervous system. It requires your nervous system, right, to be parasympathetic. And when we don't feel safe, we use that back part of our brain that survival part of our brain, part of our brain that kicks in when it's crisis. And for some people, that was extended crisis all through childhood. And for some people, it's extended crisis all through life. And when that happens, that vagus nerve is triggered, right? It affects our gut. It affects our gut biome. People don't realize that. You're having a lot of indigestion problems, digestive problems. Probably spending more time using that back part of your brain instead of your frontal lobe for just decision making. Because decision making doesn't happen out of your nervous system being engaged. I.e., when somebody makes you feel unsafe all the time, you could love the shit out of them. Back at you, April. Email me. You could love the shit out of somebody, okay? And maybe they don't have a history of being faithful to people, and that's a trigger for you. Abandonment, because it's never about the cheating. It's never about them touching another person's body. It can be. I mean, that can hurt. That can feel terrible. It is the trust. It is the vulnerability. It is the safety, and it is the abandonment and the disregard, the disposability of you, because if you found out, you would go, right? That's worth risking. That feels like abandonment. So you could love somebody but if there's something that's not keeping you feeling safe, it's going to be really hard for you to heal anything else. It doesn't have to be the other person's fault. But if you're not feeling safe, it's harder to heal because you're using the back of your brain. You're igniting that vagus nerve. You are putting your body out of parasympathetic a lot. So you can have empathy for somebody and you can forgive them. It doesn't mean because you love and forgive them and have empathy for them that you have to continue to engage in behavior that makes you feel unsafe, that is unsafe for your body, for your brain, and for your general well-being. Okay. Now Scorpio at 3240. That's different for everyone, James. That's different for everyone. Okay. Scorpio, you got 3 cards. This is interesting. Listen, Scorpio, here's the good news. When we have the eclipse, the full moon, we have the eclipse, and then we have another eclipse. We have a lunar eclipse, I think, later this month. Or in October, rather. There are 2 eclipses in. I'm not thinking straight right now. Listen, they're not in your sign. Yes, you still have Uranus opposing, but all the yucky stuff is out of Aquarius. All the yucky stuff is out of Leo. So the squares are softened. I know it feels like everything has been changing for 2 years for Scorpio, but thank you. I'm just going to say that I feel like the changes were happening to you, and now the changes are going to be executed by you. Scorpio placements, 8th house placements, Scorpio risings. Listen, and just for whoever this resonates with, it feels like the changes were happening to you the last 2 or so years, and I promise you that now it's going to feel like you are executing the changes. You're going to be the one that makes decisions based on everything you've learned, all the epiphanies you've had, everything for the last 2 years. It's time. And not that, I mean, Scorpio's co-ruler is Mars. You can execute shit. You can get stuff done. But they're still a fixed sign. And what's amazing about this reading for Scorpio, I haven't even showed you the cards yet. But I just want to say that one last time. If you feel like things have been happening to you for the last 2 or so years, for some of you it might feel like more. The change has happened to you. This is when you now get to decide the changes that you will execute. It's big, because what that is low-key saying, but full-on meaning, that you will feel back in power. You will feel back in the driver's seat. You may have felt like you've been in the back seat of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It is now time for you to make the decisions. Are you going left, right? Are you going backwards? Are you going forwards? Are you dropping half the people in the car off? It's back in the driver's seat. Knight of Swords in reverse. Knight of Swords in reverse can be passive aggressive. Now, because the rest of the cards are what they are, I'm going to tell you there's somebody, Scorpio, very passive aggressive in your life. And I'm also going to tell you that if you have Scorpio placements or 8th house placements, or you're like me and you have Pluto on that ascendant, and so you feel very akin to your Scorpios, and you have a lot of Scorpion-like behavior and Scorpionic-like experiences, quite frankly. It is very likely for you to have someone who's passive-aggressive. Some people like keeping a Scorpionic-like person. Let's not... if you identify as Scorpion-like, then that's what it is, right? Sometimes we have funky placements. You could have no Sagittarius in your chart and have Jupiter on your ascendant and feel hella Sag without being a Sag, rising. You can feel hella Sag. You can have no Cancer in your chart, have Moon right on your ascendant, feel hella Cancer. So I'm just saying, if you feel Scorpionic, in my humble opinion, people who don't take accountability very easy, and people who judge, people who weaponize shame, always like to have a Scorpio around, because then they can say, look at you. You did it. The Scorpio did it. It's their fault. You are likely to have somebody like that in your life that's also going, oh, you drive me crazy, but I love you. I hate that. You've been a pain in the ass, but you do this one thing that makes it all worth it. Guys, that's low-key verbal abuse. It's more emotional abuse, because it's not really verbal abuse. It's not you're a dumb asshole. Lucky I love you. No one else would love you the way I do. Do you know how lucky you are to have me? All of your faults, I love you still. Like that Tony Bennett song. With all your faults, I love you still. Absolutely, Adva. This is for anyone that has that person in their life that shows up for you. Maybe monetarily. They save. What would you do if you didn't have me to save you? What would you do if you didn't have me? The I love you. Ugh, you're a mess. I love you. No one else would love you. Even no one will ever love you the way I do. I don't love that. It's almost fear-mongering. They came out like this. You're going to leave someone who is passive-aggressive. See all those swords? This Scorpio is about when you are punishing yourself. When you are punishing yourself, and listen, let's be honest. Scorpio placements, if there was an Olympic sport of punishing yourself, gold medal every time, everyone else go home. This is like letting somebody know your darkest shame and then weaponizing it against you. Ugh, those people are the worst. Not anymore. Now you are executing the changes. The Six of Swords is not someone leaving you. The Six of Swords is not you have to move. The Six of Swords is not, you know, everything is burning and we have to leave with just these 6% possessions. This is you willingly taking what's the most important to you and leaving a situation. You are leaving choppy waters to go into smoother waters. And Scorpios, 8th house placements, and any of my collective that this message is really resonating for. There's your happy ending. On God's Scorpio like happy ending. Absolutely wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This isn't just somebody that's slightly passive aggressive. This is somebody who weaponizes what you are trying to heal. They weaponize what you are trying to heal. That is, you are back in the driver's seat. Yeah, I mean, you leave that to go here. And I'm not supposed to get 3 cards, but this is how your reading came out. I'm loving that. I am loving that, especially because we all know that you have all had 2 years have been a little, I'm sure there's been good points in it too. I'm sure there has, but I mean, your astrological transits, Scorpios, have been a few more years. Uranus is out of Taurus, and holy cow, does it get good. And the next time the nodes come into your, right, in about, what, 8 years? The nodes will come back around for Scorpio. It'll be the north node in Scorpio that time, not the south node. Very different experience. Okay. What cards do I want? Let's do Sag, and let's do Sag with what I believe is the unofficial Sagittarius deck of tarot, right? Like the global, this should just be deemed the Sagittarius deck. It is the Starman Tarot, a gift from our lovely Annika. David Bowie inspired. Sagittarius or ninth house. Thank you, Juan, for always keeping me like on track. Sag rising. Okay. Sagittarius, 4530. I'm trying to keep my own time stamps. Made chicken soup with a whole chicken. So then, you know, but of course I did it with like a soup starter. I let a whole onion, 5 cloves of garlic, my homemade rosemary oil, and then bouquets of rosemary, parsley, sage, thyme, all out from the garden for like 45 minutes on low, and then added the chicken and all that other stuff. So now I have this like incredible jars and jars of this incredible bone broth. So I made my date caramel. I made my homemade pumpkin sauce. Made gluten-free cinnamon rolls, although those aren't the best thing ever. Once in a blue moon, I do have a cooking or baking fail, or a meh. For me, if it's like, it's okay, that's a fail. Because I'm Virgo rising. But I feel ready for fall. Is anybody else doing anything that makes them feel ready for fall? Of course, I have like all of them. Now I'm going to make chicken salad from the chicken soup chicken, which is, if you've never done that, that was cooked with all the carrots and the celery and the onion. And then we make glumpy noodles, which are my grandmother's homemade Swedish noodles. Have we asked this before? I think Emily and I have asked this before. Does anybody else ever hear of glumpy noodles? Or like Swedish noodles. You make them on a plate and cut them into the soup. I'm making you hungry. Hi. Okay. What do we have for Sag, our 9th house placement? Anybody with Jupiter on the ascendants? Maybe a Sag North node. What do we have for them? And our collective. You've seen that on YouTube? You mean making bone broth? Or the glumpy noodles? You mean the glumpy noodles? Ours have like egregious amounts of pepper. I made the pumpkin, my great grandmother's pumpkin muffin recipe a while back before I started like the whole health kick thing. And we made mini muffins, which is the worst mistake ever because I do eat them like they're potato chips. So I'm not making those right now. Sagittarius. You probably can't, you know, I love these cards for so many reasons. Thank you again, Annika. But one of the reasons that I love these cards is because they're almost like camouflage. Like there's almost like when I put them up, I can keep telling what I'm getting, what I'm channeling, but also like there's so much interpretation available to everyone. in these cards because the artwork is just so imaginative. It just leaves room for extra interpretation. But what we have here is the Prince of Cups. Now, in this Prince of Cups, it's very, very interesting because it's very Hamlet-like. I don't know if you can see, but he's trying to grab the cup from two skulls. It's like Hamlet and Indiana Jones and David Bowie all had a baby and they made this card. Normally, and there's enlightenment around his head, right? So he's not on the ground either. He's standing on a wave. It's like divine intervention leads this person to you, Sagittarius. It leads this person to you, and because that amount of space that you're brought, I'm not gonna lie, Sag, this person might be coming to you as their relationship is ending. And they might be coming to you as you feel your relationship is dead. But this feels very, 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 very divinely. I mean, it feels like a bit of a risk, which isn't off trend for Sag. This Prince of Cups is not... So this is a Knight of Cups. In this deck, this is the same as a Knight. So this Knight of Cups doesn't come in softly with a horse and flowers. This Knight of Cups is coming into you and has to risk quite a bit. So again, they could be coming in when their relationship is kind of dead. It feels divinely it feels... Oh, I hate to say this. It feels like you may have something that's like nice, or they may have something that's nice, but you met somebody and unavoidable. Unavoidable. Risky, but unavoidable. The Four of Wands is in reverse. Sages, you may well be presented with a situation where it feels like someone or something was brought to you to make you aware. I mean, we have two skulls with the cup, and now we have the Four of Wands in reverse. It feels like a prize that's so good that you happened upon, but is encased in thorns. Again, this person may be coming to you and they're not they may be coming into your life. You may not be able to avoid it. To be honest, I don't feel like you will. Now listen, this could also break up a friendship. This could break up a partnership. This could, and I don't think it's going to break it up. I think this is something, they may be coming to you with a relationship that's already dead. You know what I mean? Like their thing may be already dead, but they're still kind of in it. I don't think either of you are looking for this. But wow. I mean, normally I would say like watch out because somebody's going to try to come in and wreck something that's committed. But when I see that card with the Enlightenment and, you know, what's interesting here is we have ice. This is frozen. These two skulls with the cup. It's like the Two of Cups, but there's just one cup and it's barely lit up. This is frozen. And here comes this fresh wave. And it's suspending him over all these sharp rocks. And he has enlightenment. I don't think you look for this, but I don't think you can avoid it. And honestly, this person may not even be somebody that, because, you know, a Knight of Cups also is not offering you the whole nine. They're not saying, you get out of that relationship, I'll get out of this relationship, we're going to go get married. Marriage is not on the table here. Again, it feels so special. It feels like a secret. It feels like you find somebody that speaks your language. It kind of feels like this is supposed to happen. And at the same time, it feels like you can't celebrate it. You can't out loud celebrate it. This is whoever this is that's coming in, whether they're the person you end up with or they just wake you up out of sleeping in your life. And I hate to say it like that. It doesn't have to be your relationship. It could be your job. It could be your own self-care. There could be a million things that they're waking you up out of. But I mean, they're here to, I mean, there's even a little like love letter on the cup. I gotta tell you, for at least half of the people this will resonate for, this is going to be somebody from the past, especially before cell phones, whatever that means for you. Because for some of you, that's childhood, and for some of you, that's into your 20s and 30s, before everyone had a cell phone. I was just about 30 before cell phones were like compact and kind of a regular thing. And still, like, not everyone had them. Like, your parents probably didn't have them. If you were my age or younger, you had them. When I was in my 20s, it wasn't cell phones. It was home phones and beepers and pay phones. So it's going to depend on how old you are. But this is before, if this person is coming back, it's from before cell phones. You can't celebrate, you know, it's Sag, so like maybe the marriage thing isn't the thing that you need, depending. So this is either divinely and neither of you want to get married. This is somebody's finding you and either their relationship or your relationship already feels dead. And for some of you, oof, there it is again. Oof. Sorry, give me a second. There's a part of you that felt like all of your heart, your unconditional love, was frozen back in this time. Like, that is where you left it. There was something innocent and something true, and it wasn't marred by a lot of other things. I'm going to show you that love note. Do you see the love note? It's right here. It's hard to like get. It's right there. There's somebody is coming to awaken that part of you that's been like frozen in time with this person. That's not for me. That's for whoever that was for, but it was just 9/11. And I haven't watched it in years, but I started rewatching Rescue Me. And the one fireman's mom comes in from out of town, and she was talking about how one highway was bumper to bumper. And it's so funny because my first thought was, when Emily used to say, that's such a New York thing to say, Grandma. It is not. Everyone says that. And then she asked the Uber driver, do you say bumper to bumper? You know? And so there we are watching this quintessential New York show. And it's on Hulu. And there's the mom saying bumper to bumper. And my first thought was, I wanted to like show that to my mom to be like, she's not wrong. That's a New York thing. But anyway, Sag, whatever this is, you can try to avoid it. It's supposed to wake you up. What you do afterwards with that is, it is what it is. But it's gonna come in and it's going to shake things up for you, because you're supposed to have things shook up. There is too much where there is divine help and divine intervention and that enlightenment, to think that that's all like it. There's no devil there. And just listen, if it is for a Sag placements don't always need to get married. Or they get married once and I'll need to get married a second time. And so it could just be that you'll live happily ever together, like, you know, Kurt and Goldie, and don't get married. Oof, but it feels for a lot of you that hit hard, that idea that like, it's not even that person with you. It is a little bit. It was the safety. It was their effect on you, and having this person come in and reawaken the part of you that hasn't felt safe to come out again and be that person that was so. Trust is a big theme, it feels like, this week. It almost feels like somebody's going to have to break somebody else's trust so that you can find that kind of, that earlier version, that inner child or inner teenage. I mean, it could be at any age, really, inner child, but to let them know, like, it's safe to come out again. You're different. You're healed. No, obviously I'm original New Yorker, so show sometimes is woof. Capricorn, 10th house placements, Saturn on your rising. Cap risings, Cap North node, whatever, and if it resonates. We have 105 on the clock. See what I mean? Like when I'm only doing 6 and I'm only, you know, not trying to shove in all 12. The messages are big. Of course, the astrology is big right now, so. Ooh. Capricorn. In the words of Boondock Saints, you know where you're going? Nowhere. Why don't you stay just a little bit longer? Yeah. I feel like you were thinking this is coming in big, and then we'll dice this up for the general. For at least 2-3 people, if not more, but for sure. Somebody came along and gave you a big shwing, as Jenna from Gemstone Tarot would say. The Ace of Wands, right? This Kundalini. Somebody was like, somebody made you think for a second. I'm trying to say this politely, but I guess I don't have to. I mean, that is what it is. By the way, this is the Queer Tarot, which I love, which was a birthday present from our lovely Juan. But this Ace of Wands, it's, again, so the aces come in from universe. They're like little gifts. It's very interesting because there's like this building in the back. It looks like a tire in the sand. It looks something between like a rainbow and a tire. And there's like this little building in the back. But the Ace of Wands is something that can grow. When it's upside down like that, I feel like somebody came in to your life and I don't think it was like a sexual awakening. It was just this person hit all the buttons on your Wonkavator, quite frankly. Certainly in that way. And it felt like it wasn't just that there was room to grow. And you were thinking of possibly leaving your job, dumping the other thing that you had going on. We have a visitor. And possibly even like moving from where you are. This is either slowed down, like all the way. Don't step on any keys, buddy. This is either slowed down all the way or they pulled back. Once in a blue moon, we will get somebody who comes in to press our buttons just to see if they can. It's an ego stroke for them. It's an insecurity undoer for them. Somebody came in and pressed all of your buttons, and you know, if you don't even know your own name in the back of your hand, you knew this was going to turn into something, and it was worth looking at changing everything for. I think Capricorn, they might have pulled back or all of a sudden you're over it. And I got to tell you, with Capricorn, it might be the latter. Like, this is amazing. This is great. This is the next big thing. This is what we're going to do when I really, really want to like do this. And like, I'm going to put everything into it because I don't half-ass anything. And then all of a sudden like, oh, you're not that great. That's not as good as it can get. I'm over it. One or the other. You were fixing and itching to change things up to accommodate. When this was like this, you're like, watch me. I'm out. Wherever this is going, I'm going with it. Right? When they were like this, but now they're like this. It could just be put on pause. It could just be put on pause because the Chariot's here and it can be turned around, and the Ace of Wands is here and it can be turned around. That is your decision. That is your, ugh. Hair all over everywhere. Nick, you so handsome now. It's interesting because, I mean, we have 2 dogs here instead of, you know, sphinxes or anything, but I really feel like it could have been a job. For some of you, it could have been a job that you're like, look, this looks great. I'm going to leave everything else I have going because the money, because there's green. Look at that potential. And then all of a sudden it was like, I just feel like whoever came in either awakened, pressed your buttons on your Wonka Vader, got you going, whether they got you going hot or whether they got you going interested, whether it was money or whether it was sex, but it was some kind of driving force that they just, whew. And Gemma always said, showing, whenever you get the Knight of Wands. She's so adorable. It was showing for sure. And Capricorn, you're a cardinal sign. Schwing does it for you. Let's just call a spade, right? This, I feel like that's in flux. I so want to take another card. Came to my senses and I chilled for a bit. Don't know how you do. The voodoo that you do so well. It's a spell. Hell, make me want to shoot. Listen, that's this reading. That lyric, that's this whole reading. I could have just done that. Came to my senses and I chilled for a bit. Don't know how you do the voodoo that you do so well. It's a spell. Hell, make me want to shoot. That's this reading. This feels like a to be continued, TBD. Yeah, when they make me hear music, they really do. Spot on. It's either for somebody else or it's just a summation. Came to my senses and I chilled for a bit. And Capricorn will eventually always come to their senses. Now, the thing is, they're also cardinal, so they rushed in. Okay, so this just came in. You know what the lesson here is? Because people will come and go. And that's the truth, right? We all know that. And while I understand a lot of tarot readings, I'm not going to say anything about like tarot readers or communities or anything like that. But a lot of tarot readings do well based on the fact that they're love messages. But there's always, I feel like there's always another layer for me, for what my job is here. And you know what? Some people, that's their job, is to bring those messages, and they're really fucking good at it. And I have zero hate or commentary on that. For me though, for what I feel like my mission is and what my job is, I feel like there's another layer. And here's the layer here. That's a whole ass story on its own, right? I mean, it's a salt and pepper song, so it's a whole ass story on its own. However, if somebody can come along and press all the buttons on your Wonka Vader to the point that you are ready to just go. And we have like 2 little kingdoms here behind our person, right? You're ready to take the dogs, move whatever you gotta move, because this felt so fucking good. And then you pulled back, or they pulled back, but you definitely are like, what am I doing? Let me stop for a minute. Maybe this isn't so great. I can definitely do better. That wasn't a sign to wait for somebody else to do better. What that was a sign for is, how do you ignite that in your own life? Why is it taking another person to come along? I mean, you're Capricorn. You're almost always right. And when you're not right, you're still right. You can do anything. You climb the mountain. It's exhausting sometimes. And you feel like everybody's watching. That puts a lot of pressure. And there's some, definite ego. As a 10th house sun, ego was one of my first big battles in my awakening. And I'm sure I will always still struggle it. What people think of me is that other people's opinions of you are none of your fucking business, being one of my major themes in my practice, is because I had to learn it for myself as a 10th house sun. And that's why I say, whenever you find somebody that's like, I completely healed this, I can show you how to heal it too. Okay, listen, I'm still always going to heal that ego part of me, because I'm never going to not be a 10th house sun. My character and how it's perceived, 99% of that I'm okay with. Except for when I care about those people. Except for when those opinions matter to me. Except for when I put a lot of effort into show my character, and then oh yeah. And then I have to sit and say, is that ego? Or is that me feeling hurt? Or is it a little bit of both, right? 10th house placements, Capricorn placements, this is a thing for you. There's no reason that Capricorn has to be sitting waiting for somebody to push those buttons. 0, none. You're fucking Capricorns. Capricorn's the sister axis of Cancer. You're caretakers too. And a lot of times it feels like somebody comes in and finally is going to do something for you. And when it pulls back a little bit, like, oh no, this person is someone I'm going to have to take care of too. What are you letting drain your energy that you cannot be your own button pusher on your own? Who are you caretaking like you caretaked for yourself or younger siblings when you were a child? What inner child wound, Capricorn? Should you be looking at? That you feel the need to caretake others to make you feel valid. On top of all your other accomplishments, there's usually somebody that you are remaking. A Capricorn will make over a person and their lives like somebody else would take on a house or a room or their hair and makeup. There's something much deeper there. And that's also if you're Saturn ruled, and of course if Saturn is on your ascendant, especially, probably, I feel like that's going to resonate. Feeling like waiting for somebody else is not Capricorn's deal, but you know, they still have that nurturing Cancer thing. Think about it. If you're talking about Moon Saturn, you're talking about mom and dad. So while like the Cancer side of things might be like the mushy, well, let me make you some food, nurture you, and kiss all your boo-boos, Capricorn's like, come on, give me 5 more. I know you got it in you. Capricorns can be perceived as all business. Trust me, they're not. Big mushy. Big mush mush. They're one of my creme brulee signs. I say it all the time. Crusty on the outside. Hard and crusty on the outside. Because that's protecting that warm, gooey center. Okay. Aquarius. Oh, I haven't used this deck in a minute. It's a Herb Crafter's deck. Nikki, you just looking so handsome sitting there. You look so handsome sitting there. I'm very tempted. Okay, guys, that's my card mess. It's just cards. Where's he at? Nikki. Why do I feel like you can't see him on the couch? There he is. Nikki. Could you guys see him? He was like hiding behind the one pile. And the red light is in the way. That was the problem. But he's just hanging out staring at all of you. Okay, Aquarius. He looks very like, paint me like I'm one of your French ladies right now. Aquarius, 123, let's call it. Oh, he thought he heard treats in another room. He went running. If I call Sadie, I'm sure she'll come in here. But then I feel like that's mean because I won't have a treat for her. Hey, Jackie. You know, also you could feel a little Capricornian if your Saturn is conjunct your moon, conjunct your sun, conjunct your Mercury, conjunct your Venus. You could also feel Saturnian and Capricornian if you have Saturn hard aspecting, and I mean like 1 to 2 degrees, sun or moon. Okay. 2 like almost popped out and then they popped right back into the deck, like laid there. Okay, so we have wow, okay. So we have the Hia of water, which is the the Page of Cups, and we have the Here of Earth, which is the Page of Pentacles. And this one is in reverse and this is upright. Aquarius, why are you getting crumbs from people? Aquarius, you have to make a decision. Aquarius, 11th house placements, people with Uranus or, quite frankly, Saturn placements. Yep. Hia is daughter. That's how I knew it was the page. Because in this deck, the page, the daughter is the pages. You're proud of me, Juan, and I knew that was Hia. This is a very interesting Page of Pentacles. Somebody is building a fence with the materials that they have. I have to tell you, this feels like getting out of lack mindset, Aquarius. Aquarius, this is why I get crazy when people call Aquarius cold. They're not. Aquarius can actually be very giving. They're very humanitarian. What's mine is yours, quite often. Somebody's giving you just whatever they can, and that's enough for you, right? Because you have great empathy and you understand. So one, this is kind of like gratitude. And I just said this the other day. I had a really, really, really hard day on Friday. And I was saying to Connie Joe that it's those days that I wake up and I remember that I'm not in any one of 10 different situations that I had to wake up on a daily basis to that were nightmares to live in. And that perspective and sitting in the gratitude for what I do have and not focused on the things that were going wrong that morning is really, really helpful to me. Not to not sit, not to not feel my feelings, or not to shame me out of feeling like I can be upset or annoyed. It just helps me not to stay in that feeling like, of course that happened to me, whatever. These challenges are small and my kids are healthy and I have this gorgeous roof over my head and lots of things that I have to be incredibly grateful for. When there is less, it can help you take you out of lack mindset. If you are feeling lack mindset and you remind yourself what you've been through and the challenges you've been able to overcome, that's very helpful. But I have to tell you, in general, what I am feeling is that somebody is just giving you whatever they can, and it's not a lot, and they may be breadcrumbing you, not going to lie. They may be breadcrumbing you a little bit. This is, do you see what they are doing? They are building a fence with the materials they have, with the materials available. You're doing the best with what they can. Instead of saying, I have no fence, so more bad stuff is going to come in and hurt me. They're building a fence with what they can. When this is upside down, it can feel like letting go of lack mindset. It can also feel like, Aquarius, you may have let somebody in that's breadcrumbing you. That's not giving you a whole lot in return to what you give them. And you're excusing their behavior. It's a little bit like what we were talking about before, about how you can have empathy for somebody and you can have forgiveness for what they have done to you or what they can't give to you. But it doesn't mean you have to keep engaging. You have a choice to make here, Aquarius. It was the first thing I heard. You have a choice. Now, oof. We see a child's hand pouring this water. And we see a grown person's hand making the fence. Aquarius, there may be somebody very sweet, maybe a little bit more simple-minded, as far as like, they're not maniacal, they're not nefarious, you know, it's a pop culture thing to complain that the interesting ones are always trouble. There's something here about not wanting to deal with the shady characters, not wanting to deal with the very interesting yet harmful people that you've dealt with in the past. And someone's coming along and they're just really, how was your day? Good morning. You may not be able to have existential conversation with this person. You may not be able to have somebody that challenges you to every day be more of an intellectual, more be open wide, may challenge the way that you think. But this person feels safe. You may have a decision, Aquarius, you have a decision to make. Whether that is because you're starting to realize that this person that you're allowing in, well, hello, friend. This person that you're allowing in, you allowed them in because they felt safe and you needed a break. You were tired. And they're not really giving you your love language. They're not really giving you what you need to satiate that part of a relationship that is conversation and challenge and all of that. But they're incredibly sweet. They're easy. But you're also not able, you're not a bad person, but you're also not sure that you can guarantee them the safety that they want either, because you don't know how long you can keep this up. It is what you needed at the moment, but you're not sure how long you can keep this up. It's easy, it's safe, there's enough chemistry there. But you just know someone's going to come along and like curl your toes and engage you in a conversation. You know, if you are a sapiosexual, and that's kind of who this message is for, not just Aquarius 11th house placement, Saturn, Uranus on the horizon, on the ascendant. If you are a sapiosexual, you're attracted to intelligence. And when I tell you that a good conversation can get the thighs hot more than any other standard or conventional way of getting somebody's thighs hot. That's if you resonate with that, then this message is probably for you. Also, people that can do that for you also kind of sometimes feel overcomplicated. Whatever this situation is, whether it's a friendship, a lover, a work situation, I mean, I literally want to lay down and take a nap for how tired I felt that you were. How exhausted I feel like you were keeping up the nefarious gymnastics of somebody. And so, same, Alexa. And so this just felt like you were loved. It felt like this person coming in felt like getting out of the tub when you're little and your mom puts the big towel around you. It's all warm. The whole bathroom smells good. It's just comfort. And it is what you needed at the time. You have a decision to make because, like, I feel like you're already having guilt, like preemptive guilt, because you know that this cannot sustain forever. You built what you had to build with the materials that you had at the time, and that, I feel like, is your energy levels. You had just enough energy for that. But this is upside down now. This is becoming not enough, and you don't want to hurt this person either. This feels like a person who wears their inner child on their outer skin. And it's just nice. And it's also not enough. And doesn't that feel like a philosophical soul dilemma? Especially if this person thinks it's everything. Especially if this is a love relationship because they feel like they're dating up and they've won the lottery. I have to tell you, I've been in it was years ago, but I was in a situation like this, and that person used to tell me all the time, I feel like I won the lottery. I mean, 3 weeks in, they tried to take me ring shopping. We'd known each other a really long time, and I was just no. And then 3 weeks in, it was, let's just go. I'm sure I can't do better than this. I won the lottery, which is a really lovely thing to hear from somebody, especially if you were just recently rejected or feel abandoned or feel that somebody was chosen over you. That felt like comfort. And the second I realized I was never going to feel like they were my lottery ticket, but they felt like they were mine, I had to cut it off. And this was years and years ago. I don't have any Aquarius placements, but that is whose face I keep seeing. Nothing really wrong with them, but it's just not enough for you. And that's okay. And that doesn't make you a bad person. We all, and here's the big collective message for Aquarius that's coming out of this. We all have the right to not be who we were yesterday. We all have the right to not be who we were yesterday or the day before or the year before or 3 years before or 10 years before. And it's very hard when other people who don't love the change aspect resent you not being in the same place. I mean, if your growth game is strong, if you're somebody who's awake, you will often outgrow people. And depending on your placements and depending on your mission in this life, it's a painful reality of outgrowing people. Also, I feel like this is a situation where maybe like never before would you have sought out or allowed somebody in that was like this, but that is what you needed at the time. Your soul, your heart, your mind, your spirit all needed rest. And this person allowed comfort. Everyone else is also can grow, and sometimes you'll grow in different directions, but no one has to be who they were. You don't owe it to anyone, and you are not obligated to be the same person that you were yesterday or last week or last month or last decade. You don't owe it to anyone. And that's not unkind. It's just not. And if you're an Aquarius and you are a humanitarian and you have that beautiful, and I think Aquarius moons are beautiful, and you're not going to convince me different, then it feels extra hard. And you're kind of hoping it's going to fizzle on its own because you don't want to do the whole. But you have a choice right now. Yeah, you have a choice right now. I'm going to say something that only in Aquarius, if you're other signs, you could stick your fingers in your ear and say la, 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 la. But I'm going to say something. Once as a Cancer, somebody said to me, as an Aries 7th house moon, somebody said to me, and I was like, that's terrible, 10 years ago. And now I get it. We can hope to die surrounded by loved ones. We can hope to leave an environment of love to transition into another environment of love with our crossed over loved ones waiting for us, right? That's always the goal. But I promise you, as somebody who has done hospice for both parents, when you are sitting in those last moments, your concern is, how did I love? As much it is, how was I loved? You will, in a sense, we all die alone. And I know the Aquarius people will be like, yeah, that makes sense. And everybody else will be like, that's terrible. But you will be sitting with your own thoughts, your own actions, and you'll be sitting taking stock of, what have you done? How have you loved? And how have you lived your life? How have you respected your own desires? Many of the people that you will make yourself uncomfortable for will be nowhere around when that moment comes, because life ebbs and it flows. And people come in and out of our lives, and sometimes it has zero to do with us. The James. But I mean, you cannot stay really, really uncomfortable and feel obligated to be somebody you no longer are. You will grow together or you will grow apart. But you have to make a decision here. And the thing is that what I truly hope that you hear in this message is that there is no shame in your evolution. And if you outgrow a situation or a person, you don't have to be unkind or cruel, but you also don't have to pretend. And give yourself permission to not pretend. It sounds like a crazy thing to say, but it's really necessary. Give yourself permission and grace to change and to not pretend. It is what we are here to do. We are not here to stay the same. You can. The next life is going to have extra challenges, right? It's like when you didn't do your homework the night before, so now you have last night's homework and today's homework. Everybody moves at their own pace and everybody's doing the best that they can at that moment with what their understanding and all the other variables are. Might not be the best anyone can do, but it's the best they can do. Give grace to yourself when you feel the need to move through or out of a situation. Okay, let's grab... I want a deck, and there it is. Okay, 145, 45, Pisces. You know, it's things like I had really, really good friends that lost parents before I lost my parents, and I avoided them when they reached out when my parents died. Because I wanted to sit in the joy and the gratitude of how much love was in the room when I helped my father transition. And I wanted to sit in the joy and the love that I got to be his daughter until I was 47. Almost. That I got to be in that magical connected relationship. And people who wanted and were still sitting in the anger of their grief, I had a really hard time dealing with. I had a mom who was not okay with her husband passing, who had gone from her mother's house to her husband's house and had never been alone, ever. And I had my children who, my father was everything. And my little guy who was having his first experience with somebody he loved dying. And I didn't want to be a mess. I didn't. And I didn't leave anything unsaid. Everything is perception. Everything is perception. It's how we see it. And everyone is doing exactly how they're supposed to be doing at that moment. I'm sharing all of that with you because somebody said, terrible is only a perception, not everything uncomfortable to hear is terrible. Would I still rather have my dad here every day? Yes. Do I think if I knew all of this about food and what some of that medicine was doing to him, some of the medicine he needed, and some of it was just could have been dealt with nutrition? Sure. I think about that every day. I talk to him every day. But it had happened. He passed. He put up a big fight. He lived till he was going to be 88. Hard life. Almost died a couple of times and he lived to 88. I wanted to sit in the gratitude of it. And I could not be around the energy that wanted me to be angry and upset, because anger is not what I felt towards my dad. Mad, sad was not what I felt towards my dad. And I was in a supportive position for people. My dad would have wanted me to take care of them. So do you see what I'm saying? So that terrible, oh my God, it's so horrible. There's nothing worse. Some of the messages, I just had to like block people and get back to them later. They had every right to feel however they felt about their parent passing. even years later. That's their right. But it's also our right not to feel the same way, to have moved out of a place, you know, to move out of an unhealed version, to move out of any place that we no longer are out. It is our right, and we do not have to participate to make somebody else feel comfortable. I did not have to participate in the energy of people who wanted me to be angry and destroyed and not be able to get out of bed. I could choose to not engage with that energy and not participate in that energy. I had every right. Even though they meant well. That's a strong example, but I want you to understand, saying that you don't have to engage and you don't have to participate doesn't just apply to people who you don't like what they're doing or they don't mean well. It can apply when somebody means well or somebody cares about you. You still don't have to participate in the energy if it feels unhealthy and if it doesn't feel like you're honestly, that's where you're at. Okay. Okay, you want to come up again. Go ahead. I know, it's hard. Oh, God, okay. Okay, so for Pisces, he could so easily get to that couch a million other ways, but that is the way he wants to go. For Pisces, very interesting. First, we have the Eight of Pentacles in the upright. There's a lot of busyness. There's a lot of work. And for some reason, that feels really good for Pisces. Like, that feels like something they've been waiting for. So there's busy and there's work. There's also the Death card. Such a beautiful Death card. She's holding a baby and the snake is around her. She's growing out of the ground with Ouroboros, the snake that eats itself. My end is my beginning. There is a veil over her. She was wearing a crown. She's holding a baby. It's an incredible Death card. Came out in reverse. Again, I'm feeling inner child around this. I am feeling the work. It's almost like active meditation. Some people, if you have neurodivergence, if you have ADHD, ADD, any of that, you have to do guided meditations. You cannot sit and think. You need something else going. You need another noise. You need to be walking. You need to be, there has to be something else. One of the things that I found helpful as a neurodivergent person, who also has a tinge of ADHD, is counting backwards, or counting from 1 to 10 and then skipping a number each time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and doing that again and again while you're listening to something, because it keeps your mind just barely busy enough to let the other stuff in, right? That's this. When Pisces has all the time in the world, you're thinking of your relationship when you were in high school, and did you let that person get away? And then, you know, some failed friendship or business or thing that you were so sure was going to be a success. You can sit and think of everything. Pisces energy, 12th house energy. Nicholas, you have to make up your mind, honey. Oh God, you're knocking everything over. You can think of everything at once. It's that 12th house energy. It is that feeling like everything's here. but also, you know, you can be overwhelmed with everything in the physical world and think of every memory and feel the energy of every other person. And when you are not busy, it's bad. I don't know if anybody knows a Pisces moon or a Pisces sun or a Pisces rising that just kind of always has to keep busy, because when they are not busy, they get into that place where they're kind of beating themselves up or thinking about a whole bunch of things that went wrong, or maybe what they did wrong. And it feels overwhelming. And because Pisces are so incredible and so connective and so creative and so magical and so capable, and they can be very prophetic, it is sometimes easy to just get overwhelmed in what should I do next? What are the choices? So when we have that Eight of Pentacles, busy, 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 that's actually a time when they're so occupied with work or a project or a subject of some type that they're so busy with. We're now here and we're just that it allows a better focus to heal things, to do inner child work without feeling overwhelmed, because much of their energy is taken up with work, and they need that. They need that. Something is going to come in and keep you really, really busy for a few of them. For a few of you, I'm hearing it's a grandchild. And it's a whole new thing. And for some of you too, that grandchild feels like an opportunity to not parent different, because you're very aware it's not your child, but to interact with a child differently, not just than you did with yours, but how you were interacted with. For some of you, okay, I'm feeling three things. For some of you, there's going to be there's a new surprise. This thing that's going to keep you busy is going to be a child that's coming into your life one way or the other. If you're very young, it could be a child. Doesn't mean that you have to have the child, but there's something, and it's going to spark some inner child work. For others of you, this is an old love coming back. And a love that there was pain. Like the love that felt like it doesn't get better than this, and then something was done or happened, and that love kind of killed something innocent in you, or just like, did you have to do that one thing that was unforgivable because this was also good? That person, this feels like, again, like the other one that I said, like it's before cell phones. This one also feels like it's back a while. And this person has had their own change. They've had their own awakening. When they come back, they are going to come back with contrition. They are going to come back with perspective. And it is possible that both of you now, with new healed versions of yourself, can take this and do something with it. And because you will not be fully able, you have something else that's keeping you busy, you will not be obsessing about them. You will be able to take it slower than maybe sometimes you normally do. For those of you that that's meant for, you'll know exactly what I mean. And if that feels offensive to you, then it wasn't for you. If anything that I say, you have a big wall up to, then it's either not for you or it's not the time. And that's okay. Bye, Charlie. I keep looking at houses in Italy for a couple of years from now. I don't know. Maybe I'll see you there. And I'm learning Italian. When this person comes back in, you will be busy doing other things. They won't be, when I feel like for those of you who have love coming back in, and it'll be an older love, not meaning the person is older, the love ended a long time ago. The younger, less healed version of you may have been overly obsessed with this person. Pisces does want to merge, right? And now you're older. You don't feel the need to be completely consumed with them, and you will be busy doing other things. I would show you the cards again, but he's laying on them. Wait, can I get these out from underneath your belly? So what I love about this Eight of Pentacles is, one, they almost look like orbs, but if we look really close, oh, I'm sorry. If we look really close, there is a face. She is like doing needlepoint on a face. This is like reconstructing what happened before and having a stronger, more reinforced version of yourself to deal with this situation again. The other group that I get this death in reverse for is, again, there's busyness, there's enlightenment, there is, you may also, honestly, when this new situation comes back, you may have been somebody that wasn't awake before. And if you're a Pisces and you're awake and using your gifts, game changer. This is a game changer. There's going to be more trust in yourself too. So as you deal with this resurrection of a situation coming back, you will be more reinforced. You will be busier, so not so overly hyper-focused with this old situation. Can we get the other card too? It's under your belly. It's cuffing season and all the girls we need is a big boy. He's my big boy. Okay, he is, wait. Okay. Again, the snake that eats itself, my end is my beginning. There is growth. This is coming back. My end is my beginning. And I mean, she has a spatula in her hand as well, which is really interesting. There is, on her face, there is such love and nurturing for this thing. This may have been, Pisces, something that you thought was going to be the big dream, the big success, the big love, something along those lines. And it's coming back to you now, but now you can handle it. And I feel like I'm supposed to tell you this because it almost feels like I want to let it back in so much, but I also don't want it to end up how it did. And the thing that I'm supposed to tell all you 12th house placements and Pisces placements and people with Neptune, and Jupiter both on your, you don't have to have both, but either on your ascendant, is that you won't handle it the same. And even if the other person turns out to have not been as healed, this is the important thing. And even if the other person hasn't changed as much as you would like them to, you still have changed. And it's okay to check out this situation, because you're going to handle not only yourself different, but their lack of being able to show up in the way that you wish that they could. Because Pisces will see the best potential in somebody instead of seeing them where they're at. That's the Neptunian part. And trust me, as a Pisces ruled 7th house, I get that. We'll see somebody based on their potential and not what their actions are. The thing is that even if that turns out to be like that, you are different. You can handle it. You're reinforced. You will not fall apart. You will not fall apart. And this means something to you. And living with the what if and sitting in the what if could distract you out of all of this good busyness. It's okay to explore it. If something is coming back to you, it's okay to explore it. Hi, buddy. Does that have to be done right now? You had to clean your leg right now? All right, we're going to do a love reading as always. At the end of the 6th, this is our new tradition. Nikki, do you need a love reading? No? Okay, thank you for giving me my table back. Nicholas, you gotta pick a lane, babe. Okay, you're gonna sit there. Okay, that's fine. But then, you know, it's Sunday. These people have places to be. Nikki. All right, so let's get a message from your person. You could see the size of my head next to that cat, right? He's a big boy. Look at the dog size. Just remember that even with that Piscean energy or Neptunian energy, if you have Neptunian energy strong, you're different. And I do believe that you will regret more. The what if will torture you more than knowing that you can handle it with a newer version of yourself. So the message I got from your person is, I'm in a dark place. Spirit is sending me light. So probably going to be at, what, we'll call it 2:07, that this is probably somebody you're out of contact with. Sorry, something else was coming in. I don't know if your person's going through a dark night of the soul or whether it's just they've been getting hit. Their like astrological signs have been getting hit, and they just feel, I almost want to say it's almost like, I know it's early to say like seasonal depression, but it feels just like they don't have the motivation to get out of bed. Everything feels like they're walking through swamp. Their head feels thick and heavy. That is what I'm feeling from this person. And I don't feel like they have energy. It's not about you. They don't have energy. Because they feel like once in a while that they would like to contact you. but it's the idea of the energy to follow it through and not disappoint you and not just pop in because they feel like it. It's like what it'll mean to you if they pop in. So they just don't. Feels too hard. All right. Let's get... Oh. My friend, whose name is actually Nikki, her husband did like 6 tours, and I give you so much credit. That's amazing. All right, so here's what's crazy. Let me pull, I'm gonna pull a card. Hey, DeRay. Okay, we have the 2 wands and the Chariot. This is a love reading for somebody who has been on hold, been on pause with somebody that's been in quiet, probably for a while. But you feel like, I'm not crazy, that connection was that connection. They are in a dark place. They don't want to put the energy into you that they cannot keep up, and they know they can't right now, and they feel like that's unfair. I'm also feeling like whether it's you or whether it's them, this is just a general love reading for whoever it's meant for. There is the 2 of Wands, which is trying to make a decision between 2 things. I'm feeling really pulled and indecisive sometimes. Even though there's one thing that feels really, really more passionate towards the other, you still may feel stuck. Then there's the Chariot. So that would, so like there is a decision whether to move, go towards a person, actually move completely. This person might be moving away, making it harder for you guys to be together. There are, I don't want to say bigger fish to fry, because whoever you are, if you're watching this, you're important, you're enough, you're not too much, and there's nothing wrong with you. I feel a big, huge struggle for this person that feels so heavy. Like I said, when I feel into this person, you probably see it in my eyes. My eyes get smaller. It feels like my head is like thick and stuck right now. There's somebody else around you. It can almost feel like you feel like you're being unfaithful to this other energy that you feel such a deep connection to, but it's saying it's safe for you to love and to flirt. Now, the flirt card kind of came out, but not really. I put it back in and it came out a second time. It says to receive. There might be somebody that comes in and you feel like it's wrong to let anybody love you, to let somebody love you, or that you can't really give them everything back because there is a piece of you with this person. It's funny. It's almost like this has been one big long reading, like that Sagittarius reading with the frozen skulls and the love letter and the cup and everything. It feels like this is all, like all of the readings culminate into this reading. There is a part of you that is like frozen, invested, connected to this person, and good luck getting it disconnected. But there's another person that's around and you're not sure whether it's okay to engage with this person, because I can almost feel like you're cheating, even though you're not really in a relationship, but your heart feels like married. It feels like a divine marriage, even if it's not taking place in the physical. And that sounds delulu, right? But this is for you, if this is how you feel. There is somebody else, and there is some kind of place you need to get to let love in. There is some kind of transition for you and inner child healing, just about accepting the love, even if you can't give everything. Because you're used to giving 150 while somebody else gives 75. You are used to giving 150 while somebody else gives 75. And so the idea of letting somebody love you and feeling like, but I've got such a huge part of my heart wrapped up in this connection that's silent, that I don't know what's going on. It's still okay. This will work out exactly how it's supposed to work out. And I don't feel that this is completely done, but I don't think it's on the horizon for right now. Let me just take an oracle card and then we are done here. You know what cards I want to use? These gorgeous cards. Okay. These were, I want to say these were a gift from Shauna for my birthday. Maybe it's birthday? I don't know. Shauna's extremely generous with the gift giving. So, be honest, sometimes I can't. Overly generous. So we're going to use these. Let's just get an oracle and a piece of advice or some just insight on this situation. I mean, the flirt came out, like, let that part in you live. Because it also feels like, I'm going to tell you, this is really important, and I couldn't understand why. And to me, this as a Cancer, this doesn't make sense to like be invested in one person and then like let love in somewhere else, and flirt somewhere else. If you really truly so connected, it almost feels like a divine marriage. And now I get it. Release the pressure. If you don't allow yourself to flirt, if you don't allow love to come in, if you don't allow that part of yourself at all, this person that's already in a dark place, that's worried about contacting you, that's worried about what they can give once they contact and what the expectations are, they can feel you waiting. They can feel what they're going to have to be to make all that waiting worth it. I want to cry again. This person feels so much for you, but they feel the pressure of who they're going to have to be and how they're going to have to show up. I feel like they're barely treading water in their own life for reasons that have zero to do with you or another person or love. And then they feel the pressure of who they're going to have to be and how they're going to have to show up and what they're going to have to bring to the table to make all of that waiting worth it for you. They do have you a little bit on a pedestal, and this is why I say it's never good to have anyone on a pedestal. You don't want to really be put on a pedestal because there's only one place to go from there. But respected, adored, sure, but that's not the same. Let love in, flirt. Let that part of you be cared for. Let the release. They were showing me like a release valve on a tire, which is weird. And then all of a sudden I got it and I didn't finish shuffling, and I'll still take the oracle. But energetically, because this is such a divine connection, because this is almost like a divine, considered like a divine marriage, you probably have had a go around with this person in more than one life, right? Sometimes energetically they feel things they don't understand in a 3D way, but they do feel the pressure. Like when we get back together, we're gonna have to like be back together for a month and go run to the justice of the peace and be in the house with all the kids or whatever it is. And they are barely treading their own life right now. It's too much. And nothing you do or don't do is gonna change everything else in their life right now. And so you letting this in isn't disloyal. It isn't cheating. It is decompressing some of the energy that feels overwhelming, because you're not crazy and that connection is there and they feel you as well as you feel them. But when people are in a dark place and they don't feel enough and they don't feel this is not about you being not enough. They are worried about being enough once this gets together. And again, the first thing I got is they think about it all the time, but they know they don't have the energy to keep up the contact for how excited you would be to hear from them. And I know you could be sitting there and being like, I don't care. I just want to know they're okay. I just want to have 5 words once a month. Like, I want to at least know what's going on. Give me a reason. Tell me we're never going to be together, but I just want to hear something from you. And they're not completely over you. They're not completely over it. So they don't want to say that to you. But they also can't completely give you themselves because they don't even feel like they have enough to give themselves. Okay. All right, I'm going to do something weird. 4 cards came out, but they came out like a dump. I'm going to just shuffle these 4. And then whichever one comes out, that's the right one. Yeah. Okay, let's get the book for this. And I opened the book exactly to the page of the card that came up, like the first time. That never happens. I don't even have glasses in here, right? Of course I don't. Because then I use them, I put them on my head, and I walk out of the room with them. Anyone else? I need a low jack for all my reading glasses. All right. Lost compass. Getting back to integrity, finding the way home, trusting intuition. When the lost compass appears, it is the sign you need to find your way back home, back to your source and center, relying on your intuition to arrive there. Be wary of the signs telling you to turn here or there, because the outward indicators are not always reliable right now. Rely instead on your innate sense of direction and guidance, using your homing instinct to lead you true. The lost compass has come to show you what you need to find. New counselors. You are not getting the mentoring that you need. You may be getting bad advice in your friend circle, at work, in your family. You are meant to be you, not a best copy of your dearest friend. Wow. You are meant to be you, not a copy of your dearest friend. Make this your mantra. Love me and leave me be. The lost compass is a blessing in disguise, because you sometimes have to lose your bearings to find yourself a fresh, new way to discover a new course, a new love. True north never changes, so reset your way to your heart compass and trust your deepest feelings, even when others do not support them. This is going to extra resonate if you have someone in your ear going, you cannot mess with this person because you're never really going to love them, and that's not nice. Woo hoo hoo hoo. That was the doozy of a love reading. Okay, we are done. I get to see one of you in my community later. I had somebody email me and say they were afraid of making an appointment because they were worried I didn't feel well enough yet. I promise I'm back up and running. And also, just as a reminder, the moon calendars, so you can go back and track things that happened this year, and especially track what happens during these new eclipses and this full moon coming up, is still like $4.99 on the Etsy store, and it's an instant download. Nothing gets sent to you, and it goes either on your iPad or your phone, and then you'll be able to keep track of things that happen. And that's just more so that we can regulate our energy and know what moons affect us. And it has all the phases too. And then it has place for your appointments, everything. So it could be like a one-stop shop calendar. I'm trying to find ways to also get it to like integrate, or in the instructions find a way to give you to integrate like your Google Calendar and stuff like that. But that's up on the Etsy shop. I think I'll have to leave the Etsy shop link in the comments, but it's $5. I think that's it. I'll see you guys next week. Oh, thank you, Juan. I will see you guys next week, and please just know that I'm holding support for you all the time. I love you all so much. And, you know, if you need me, reach out. I am not where I was like 6 weeks ago. And that's it. I'll see you all next week. Happy Libra season. Happy fall equinox. And let me know if there's any kind of subject you want me to do, like a separate video around. Okay. I love you. Know you love you. Bye, everyone.